There's a message that I have felt called to share for the last several weeks, but I kept putting it off because I wanted to be prepared. I wanted to have something more organized and ready to share. That's just how I tend to think and how I tend to do things. But sometimes you just have to do it. Sometimes you just have to obey. I was reading through Job recently, because our family has been struggling in certain ways. We have currently a dog who is not well, and it has been a struggle for the last couple months trying to figure out what's going on with him. And that's just one of many things. But so I got to reading into Job, and just the first couple chapters alone I caught things that I hadn't caught in the past in the book of Job, or I should say in Job's story. So if you're not familiar, Job is blessed by God. He is faithful to God. He has plenty. He's got livestock, he's got land, he's got children, he's married, he's been very well blessed by God, and he has been faithful to God. So in the book of Job, what happens is Satan is looking for someone to torment, and God, I know people will conflict with this idea of God, but God says, in a conversation with Satan, says, have you looked at my servant Job? And Satan says, basically, he's like, whoa, you offering up your servant to me, kind of thing. And God's like, he will not lose faith. He is Job. He will remain faithful. I know him. So Satan, God offers Job to Satan in the sense that he says to Satan, you can have anything but his health. Do what you must, but you can have anything but his health. Do not take him. Do not take his life, right? And so Satan goes among Job's belongings and livelihood, and his oxen and donkeys are killed, and his servants who take care of them are killed. And a messenger comes to Job one day, and he says, this has all happened. I'm the only one to escape to tell you about this. And then here's what I found intriguing, starting at this point in chapter 1, is it says, while the messenger was still speaking, another messenger came up to Job and said that his sheep and the servants to his sheep have been destroyed. And then it says again, while he was still speaking, another messenger came to Job and said, your camels and their servants, your servants with the camels, have also been destroyed. I was the only one to escape to come and tell you. And while he was still speaking, another servant came and said that while your sons and daughters were partying, essentially, the house that they were in collapsed on them, and all of them have died, but I was the only one to escape to come and tell you. So here Job is, now having lost basically all of his livestock, his children. He is just devastated. He tears his clothes. He goes into mourning, and he is just mad. He is angry that this is happening to him. And his wife even responds to him. This is now, I think, moving into chapter 2. His wife now responds and says, why don't you curse God? So even his wife is against him. She is not faithful, and he calls her, he says she's speaking foolishness. And here he is utterly alone, dealing with massive loss and grief because of Satan. And yet he did not lose faith. He stayed true to what God spoke of him, and he continued to believe. And even when his friends came to mourn with him, this was another awesome revelation revelation to me, was when his when his companions came, they literally came and sat with him in silence. I think it said for 8 days. Just sat there. They didn't try to solve it. They didn't try to fix it. They didn't try to remedy anything. They just sat with him and grieved. They were just present with him, which is so powerful to just know that you're not alone. Of course, when they started speaking, it changed because they were not helpful in any way. And Job, in the end, ends up being the most faithful of them all and saying, how dare you? Like, yes, he cursed the day he was born and all this stuff, but he still stayed faithful to God, and he knew God was bigger. And in the end, he gets blessed again by God. Oh, there's more. Than moving back, he did, after all of this livestock is gone and all this stuff, he gets Satan meets back up with God again. This is before the conversation with his friends, and Satan says, hey, basically, I want to do more. And God says, you can affect his health, but you cannot take his life. And so he gives Job sores, like boils all over his body. And Job breaks a pot and he just scrapes the sores clean. He tries to just deal with them. And so I come to you. I'm not all like, I thought, man, I need to look decent. I'm literally coming raw-faced. I used lip balm a couple nights ago one time, and then I reacted to it. My lips are so chapped and they're inflamed. And I am having inflammation of my gut, which is causing acne like crazy. And my eyes, when I woke up this morning, were slightly still swollen from crying because of my dog situation. And it brought me back to something I remember sharing with you guys several years ago about, I don't know if I shared it on here, but about when our dog Toby was ill and he was just suffering. We didn't know what was wrong, some sort of neurological issue. He passed away from it in 2013. And it reminded me how in the Bible, I can't remember the verse, it says how even the animals worship God, like the trees in the field, everything worships God. And they're basically awaiting our obedience. And so when I see animals and animals suffer, like my dog currently is, it reminds me that they're not the ones that brought sin into this world, yet they are suffering because of it. All of nature is suffering because of the sins that humans brought into this world. The fall of mankind is our fault, yet all of creation is suffering because of us. And yet how arrogant of us to sit by and pretend like we're not the problem. Or blame humans but do nothing about it. We can't fix this world. We cannot remove sin from this world, but we can sure as heck obey God and listen to him, truly listen to that still small voice in our hearts and our lives that is telling us this is wrong. I need you to turn to me and follow me, and I will bless you. So even in our turmoil, even when, my face is inflamed, my lips are raw, and my gut is not well, and my dog is suffering, and our finances are stressed, not just because of other issues, but my dog, multiple vet visits in the last couple weeks, another one later today, and yet God is faithful, and we are called to be faithful, and we are called to listen, just lean in and listen, and gather his understanding, and follow him, and he will bless us. And this and many other things that have been beyond believable that have happened to our family in the last couple years nearly 3 years since we decided to make some very bold decisions for God. Unexplainable, other than the fact that we are choosing to live for Christ, and Satan is working against us because of it. Anytime you step out in faith, here's another lesson here. Anytime you step out in faith, you're going to have resistance. It will not be easy. God never promised it would be easy. He said, basically, suit up. There's a battle. Be prepared. It will not be easy, but it will be worth it. So I promise you it will be worth it. Am I still struggling? Am I still suffering in some sense in this world? Yes. Will that stop? No. But I know that there is something better on the other side. And I know that God is taking care of me, even in the midst of these battles. It hurts and it sucks. Plain, just outright sucks. But you know what? It's worth it. You know how I know that? Because he told me. And I see it in Job's story. He ends up blessed beyond anything he could have imagined because of his faithfulness to God. So I'm going to do my best to continue on as Job did and follow Christ, follow God, and know that he is taking care of me, even in the midst of these storms, because he promised. Thank you all. Take care.